Forged among stars.
Welcome back. These are the continuing adventures of Hawking Duval. First, I keep messing up things. I keep forgetting to do the begin session move. I also forget to do the end session move. So let's look at the end session move really quickly. It says, if you strengthen your ties to a connection, develop a relationship. If you move forward on a quest, reach a milestone. If there is a quest, connection, or other situation you would like to give focus in your next session, make note of it. Take 1 momentum. So I'm going to go ahead and do that because I'm going to need this momentum really bad, seeing as how there's zombies and all kinds of death lurking around my character. So I'm also going to take a look at some of our relationships here, some of our connections, and I think Scout makes the most sense that we could develop a relationship right there. But I'm going to check really quick and just see if that's true. So it says a few things: profound moment, hardship. I think so, because she is on the radio and Hawking is in contact with her and he is giving her information on what's happening. So we're going to go ahead and develop the relationship. And so what that means is I will mark progress on her bar here. So that gives us 2 more on our relationship with Scout. And then we'll go back here and we'll take a look at the begin a session move, because we're beginning a session. I know, right? So let's roll here. Oh, goodness. Okay, so a key location is made unsafe or becomes mired in conflict. Just what I need. More terrible stuff happening to Hawking Duval. Okay, so let's remember where we were at. So we were in an engineering zone of this derelict that is on the planet Thule. Hawking is about ready to dive deeper into this vessel, seeking the object that is so highly prized by the crew and personnel of Lodestar. He is also seeking a mineral sample to give to the despicable ogre who was holding Scout as a captive. Now, the begin session move does say take 1 momentum. I'm going to do that as well. Like I said, this might be a little cheap, but this game is brutal. Okay? So I'm going to need all the help I can get to survive. And it's in the rules right here that I get some momentum. I just forgot to do that end session move actually several times. And the begin session move a couple times. I would be full on momentum if I did all of those, but let's not go back too far. Now it says a key location is made unsafe or becomes mired in conflict. I'm going to make a note of that and keep that in the back of my mind until I can pull it out and kill Hawking. As I mentioned, Hawking is in an engineering zone of this derelict, and he found a control terminal, and it had been rigged to explode by human spacers, and he doesn't know why, but he was able to make a roll on that control panel and slow the imminent destruction of this starship. There were also zombies who, if they bite you or claw you, corrupt your flesh and you die. So that's just perfect. And we are about to undertake our expedition to continue into this derelict. But first, I want to have Hawking call to Scout to relay some messages. So this is what's going to happen. So Hawking reaches for his comm, and he says, "Scout, do you read me?" And she replies, "Yes, Jester, come in." "Listen, Scout, something bad is going on here. I need you to relay to Dancer. Do not inform Lodestar, do you understand? Do not tell him this information just yet. Do you understand?" Scout replies, Of course, Jester. What is it?" "There was a group of spacers here. They sabotaged a control panel. I have scanned it, and I am sending you some data. Have Dancer look at that data and see if we can prevent the imminent destruction of this starship." Scout replies, "Understood." Then Hawking says, "Thank you, Scout. Jester out." And he backs off his comm, and he steels himself to go deeper into this derelict. So that means we need to make some moves. And I will refresh our memories here. Let's look at this progress bar. So this is formidable as we are traveling into this crashed starship. Let's take a look at our vows. So these vows are down here. Now, it does say at the end of a session that you can mark progress if you feel you have reached a milestone. And I think we have. So I'm going to mark one there. And I'm going to mark one there. Freeing Scout, I think we're good for there for a moment because we'll probably need something else to occur before I can fulfill that vow, which is getting the mineral sample. So we have a ways to go with that vow. Now, I'm kind of doing this, like I said, I don't want to go easy on my character or anything, but I also don't want the game just to go on and on and on and on. I want things to progress and for things to move so I can make new vows and have new scenes and have new things happen. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish here. Now let's go back to moves, and we go to Undertake Expedition. So we're going to roll, and Hawking is going to move deeper into the vessel. Roll with the wits. No modifiers. Oh, dear goodness. We rolled a miss. Oh, well, this is fantastic. You are waylaid by a crisis or arrive at a waypoint to confront an immediate hardship or threat. Do not mark progress and pay the price. Okay, so first let's see where Hawking ends up. So let's go back to derelict, and we will, here it is. We're going to roll on zones. We got 41, which is living quarters. So we'll go down here and see what type of living quarters this is. And we'll roll on area first. Food storage. Let's get a feature. Scuttling vermin. Always love scuttling vermin. And then we need a peril because we had a miss. So let's just go ahead and roll on the peril table here. Dreadful scene of death or violence. Let me make a note. All right, I have made a note of some of those things there. We'll close this, and then we will go to pay the price. And we will take a look. Pay the price. Where did it go? All right. It is under moves. Pay the price. So let's take a look. Make the most obvious negative outcome happen. Ask the Oracle and interpret. Roll on the table below. Let's roll on the table below, but I may roll on the Oracle as well. And if it doesn't fit, we'll change. We'll try again. You are delayed or put at a disadvantage. I mean, that's pretty generic. Let's take a look at some of the oracles. We'll look through here. Well, okay, let's try this right here. Lose. Now let's go to theme. Prophecy. Let's get a descriptor. Stolen. Let's get a focus. Salvage. And we are delayed. Let me think about this one. Okay, I have written some of those down. I don't understand exactly what I need to face here. Let's go back to pay the price and think about this a little bit. I'm going to roll again. You face a tough choice. It's pretty vague. Let me try it again. You are stressed. You are harmed. Lose, prophecy, stolen, salvage, and I am delayed. And then when I come into a food storage area, I see a scene of horrific violence. Nice. With scuttling vermin. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say happens. I'm going to take a hit to spirit. I'm going to move it down to 1. Hawking is stressed. And when he enters this food storage room, so remember, Hawking's walking on the wall, and the ceiling and the floor are now walls. He enters this ancient food storage area, and he sees one of the spacers that must have recently came here. Well, he sees their body. And it is a horrific scene, and there are scuttling vermin about, and Hawking is repulsed by this scene. I'll let you use your imagination there. I don't want to go too crazy, but he is horrified by this. He takes a hit to spirit, and he is reeling from some of these horrors that he is seeing. Now, I will try to take into account some of these other words that I rolled, but right now we're going to go with that. Now, Hawking could explore this waypoint. So let's take a look at that. We roll wits, and we could gain some momentum, and we can mark progress, some different things. Or if we miss, something bad will happen. Even though there's a horrific scene here, I think Hawking is going to explore this waypoint. He needs to understand what is happening here. So we are going to roll this. We don't have any pluses right now, so he's using wits. A strong hit. This is great. So what I can do is I can find an opportunity, envision a favorable insight, situation, resource, or encounter, then take 2 momentum. Or I can gain progress, or do both of those happen? Let me check. Yes, I only get to pick one of those. So find an opportunity and take 2 momentum, or mark progress. And if I mark progress, I imagine how this waypoint gets me closer to my goal, whether it is a shortcut or something like that. The opportunity is something here in this waypoint. I'm going to go over first before I make the choice. And I'm going to go over to oracles. And I am going to look at the living zones again. And I'm going to roll on opportunity just to see what it is. Recorded message reveals helpful aspects of this site. I don't know if that makes sense because I've kind of already established that it was thousands of years old and in a different language, or it could be on the body of the spacer that he's seeing. So it could be on that person's, so it could be the language that Hawking speaks. And it could be a recorded message. I'm not sure. Although I think what I'm going to do, let's come over here. I am going to mark progress because we have a long, long, long way to go. So we'll look at this and we just gain progress. So here, what I think is that it allows us to move forward a little bit more. And the rules said maybe a shortcut, so I'm just going to go with that. That Hawking sees a different way that he can travel down into the ship quicker through this food storage bay. I don't know exactly how that works, but it's kind of fun. And it is a little cinematic because heroes in movies are always finding shortcuts or little tunnels or tubes where they can crawl through and get somewhere quicker. Maybe that's what Hawking does. Maybe he sees kind of like the old air vent trick and he crawls through. He's able to get somewhere a little bit quicker. However, we mark progress and then we're going to undertake expedition once again. Here we go. Another miss. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, let's go pay the price. A new enemy is revealed. Let's roll again. Equipment or vehicle malfunctions. It's kind of standard. You are separated from something or someone. Yeah, same thing over and over again. Friendly companion allies in harm's way. Or you are if you are not alone. Okay, well, we'll just go with that first one. A new enemy is revealed. Let's come back over here, see if I can get a few more ideas. Let's see, where is that? So let's roll on the action. Impress. Peace. Safe. Debris. Serve. Yeah, I don't know. Those aren't helping me too much. So let me think about this really quickly. Okay, so it says a new enemy is revealed. We already have zombies of the original crew. We already have spacers who have rigged the vessel to explode. And we have already seen a remnant, biomechanical guardians of eons past. So we have those three. There is a creature here where we could create a new enemy, some type of creature. Do I want to create a creature that Hawking will have to face? I mean, why not? Let's roll medium, person-sized. Okay. What is it, land? Okay, so a medium-sized creature. What is it? Land? Avian winged. Okay, first look. So these are just some descriptors we see at first look. Spikes or spines. Encountered behavior. Trapper. Oh, this is going to be great. Revealed aspect. Entangling secretion. All right, I have all of those down. I think the other thing we forgot to do here is we need to find another zone, right? Because I rolled on undertake expedition, so Hawking moves to a new place. So let's roll this. Community. Let's go here. We need an area. Oh, new zone via access. So we'll go up through access corridor. So we have come to a corridor into community, or we pass through community into a new area. I don't know how that works. Sorry, guys. So we need a zone. Starship. Engineering. Had a lot of engineering. Workshop. Not sure what that means. Actually, let me go back to community here and look. New zone. What does that mean? So via access. Well, no, I'm going to scratch the corridor and the engineering. We've already done engineering and the workshop. I'm going to roll again here on community and see if we get an area. Okay, a concourse or a hub. That's better. Let's do that. And then feature, a descriptor plus a focus. So that is up here. So a descriptor, a natural, home. All right, let me write these down. Okay. So I got all of those down, and I'm going to enter into some fiction and describe what Hawking sees. Hawking is in the food storage area, and he explores that area, even though there is this horrific scene, and he then discovers a shortcut, and I am going to say it's an air vent, and he crawls through that, and it takes him deeper into the vessel, and he pops out on the other side, and he is in a large concourse or hub where people would meet. And perhaps it is like a 2-story room with a balcony all around, so people would come here and walk through, and maybe there were little shops or little areas where they could enjoy some recreation or pastime. And as Hawking Duval moves in to this area, he notices something slimy running down the walls and pooling on the floor. It smells sweet, almost appealing, but the look of it is what disgusts him. But it may fool an animal, and this puts Hawking on alert. And he looks at the slime running down the wall and onto the floor, and he looks up, and there, on the ceiling, is a person-sized creature, winged creature with deadly spines, and it is secreting this slime from its mouth, and Hawking Duval freezes in his tracks, and the head of the creature turns to stare with inhuman eyes at him, and he reaches for his weapon. And now Hawking has to do something. We are going to battle once again because I do not want to enter the fray right now. My focus isn't on combat, but we are going to have to deal with this creature. And so what Hawking does is he draws his weapon. In his mind, he says, "Monarch, I need help, Monarch." And he hears the voice, "With you, Hawking, I'm with you." And he fires his sidearm at the creature. We're using courage, and we get a +2 from Monarch. Get a weak hit. We achieve our objective, but we must pay the price. So Hawking raises his firearm and he shoots the creature. The creature is dead. But there is a cost. So let's see what pay the price says. An individual or community you care about is exposed to danger. I don't know if this works. I mean, I could always put scout or dancer in danger. That's a lot to keep track of. Let's roll again, and I will see if I can make this work. If not, I will go back to that one. You are separated from something or someone. I've already done this in season 1 where I can't talk to somebody on the outside. And I'd rather not just keep doing things like this over and over again because I've already had to do some similar things again here in season 2. Let's try again. Something is valued or lost. I've already had that one too. You face the consequences of an earlier choice. Now this is interesting. Let me think about this. What could that be? What choices has Hawking made so far? He's entered the derelict. He's killed some of the remnants. I don't know. There's a lot here. This game is really fascinating because I can go in many different directions. You can make the most obvious negative outcome happen. And that could be that when Hawking shoots the creature, it falls from the ceiling and he is nicked by one of its spines, and I'll just -1 health. Maybe I'll do that. It'll keep things a little bit simpler right now, although it may kill him. And yeah, we'll just say that and we'll move along because we have a long way to go and a short time to get there. All right, anybody in their early 50s will get that, but nobody else will. All right, let's take a look at Undertake Expedition. Once again, we are going to roll. Oh, wait. He could explore this waypoint. And that's what he wants to do. I keep forgetting all of these moves. So we are going to roll. No modifiers. Strong hit. Yes. Find an opportunity, or I can mark progress. So I'm going to look at hub over here. Where are these? In oracles. I'm going to go back to this. So in the community section, and we're going to look at opportunity real quick. If that doesn't work, then I will just mark progress. But let's see. Salvageable goods or resources. Okay. So this is interesting. Let's go back up. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to say that there are some supplies here, and he can salvage those supplies. I won't mark progress this time, but I am going to take those supplies, and I'm going to move my supply back up to 5. Okay. So that's what he did there. And that was exploring the waypoint. Now we're going to undertake an expedition again. We're going to move with wits. No modifiers. A weak hit. Okay. So we get to mark progress. I'm going to have to take 2 suffer moves at -2 for a total of -2, or I'm going to have to face a peril. So let's see. So let's go ahead and mark the progress, however. So we do get progress. Let me check vows again. I have gone a long way, so I'm going to mark progress on these 2. I think we have hit a milestone on a couple of those. So now I either need a peril or I need to take -2. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to look what it says. So it has some perils. We're going to roll that, and we'll see if they work. And if they don't, we'll do suffer moves. Action theme. All right, so that means we have to go back up here to action and theme. Destroy destiny. What would that mean? Destroy destiny? That is a peril. Oh my goodness, what would that mean? Let me take another look here. Let's try again. Let's roll again on the perils. See if we get something else. But destroy destiny. Action and theme again. Let's roll again. Heartbreaking memento of lost lives. Interesting. I could also do some moves. I could do an endure stress move, I believe. Okay, yeah, that's only if it's 0. Well, I think that would kind of make sense, actually. This is going to be very scary for my character. However, I'm going to move spirit to 0. And I'm going to use this heartbreaking memento of lost lives. So, Hawking kills the creature. He is injured a bit. But he finds some supplies. Wait a minute. I'm messing up again. He undertook expedition, so he moved. So we need a new place in the derelict before I start describing this. Operations. I'm going to roll again. I don't know what that is. Armory. Video surveillance monitors. Let's roll on the peril just to see broken equipment limits control. That doesn't mean anything to him. An armory? Does that make sense? I guess it could. And so what Hawking Duval sees is he makes his way to this armory, and the armory has been opened, and it has been looted eons ago. And he looks into the armory, and there on the floor, laying under a layer of dust, are some child-sized shoes. And Hawking Duval is reminded that this place was once a bustling hub of life and is now a tomb, even tomb for the small and the weak. And his spirit dips even lower. He is not only exploring a starship to find some item or some mineral. He is walking in somebody's grave. And those people lived and they loved. And it is breaking him. We will explore this waypoint. A strong hit with a match. So we are going to make a discovery, maybe. Let me read. So we can find an opportunity, gain 2 momentum, or mark progress, or make a discovery instead. We're going to make a discovery, because discoveries are cool. Let's go over here. I think it is in Oracles. If it is not, I will... Is it a move? Aha, yes. It is under exploration moves. I will edit some of that out, but man, it took me a long time to find it. So we are going to make a discovery, which is really, really cool. Rare and valuable resource. Let me think about this. So a rare and valuable resource. So what I'm going to imagine, Hawking is in an armory. So what I'm going to imagine is that there is some kind of power supply to some ancient weapons. Now, he's not going to be able to salvage the weapons, but the power supply is still there. And he is able to take a few of these objects, maybe crystals, or, I mean, crystals is pretty cliche, but some type of power source. He is able to take those and he's able to put some in his pocket or his pack. And this is a rare and valuable resource that he has just come across. So I'm going to make a note of that. Okay. Now I'm going to look back at some of these. So far we have made some progress, but we haven't gotten very far. We haven't been able to make any of our legacies like we were in some of the other sessions, but we are continuing. So we're going to undertake an expedition, and we got a strong hit with a match. There we go. after all these misses. Nice. You reach a waypoint, envision the location, mark progress. But what does a match do? Match always does something. So let me see what a match does. But first, we will roll up a new area. Engineering. I've already had some engineering. Let's see what it says. Ugh, I don't know what that means. New zone via access. I don't understand. Let's take a look once more. Oh, we've already had a vehicle base, so I'm going to roll again up here on zones. Living. Okay, we've had that before, but we didn't do much with it, so let's see what it gives us there. Waters. Excellent. Individual quarters. I like that. I like that a lot. Let's see if we get a feature. Abandoned pet. Oh, this is going to be interesting. 1,000-year-old pet. All right. So we'll take that right there. Let's come back to moves here. So I got a match. I'm going to check out what a match would mean on undertake expedition. Okay, it looks like I just find an opportunity since I rolled a match. Let's go back to the oracles. And we'll look at living. And we'll look at opportunity, and we'll see. Recorded message. I mean, that would make sense, but can I understand the language? I do have an idea. I just got one. But let's see. Let's try again. And I'm not trying to be easy on my character. It's just sometimes interpreting some of this is a little difficult. So let me think about this for a minute. Now, I rolled hidden contraband. I'm not going to do that. I just found a resource. So I'll do the recorded message, if this makes any sense. So let me think of this. So Hawking continues to explore the ship. He leaves the armory. He makes his way down through the ship. He finds a living quarters. The door is open. He goes inside. Again, the ship is oriented sideways, so he's walking on the walls. There is a terminal in there, a computer panel. He sees a faint light on it. He touches it, and the individual whose quarters this was had recorded their thoughts or their feelings or the events of their lives in like a diary or a journal or a log, and it begins to play. But it is in an ancient language, and Hawking does not understand it. He begins to record the language with his scanner, right? He carries on his belt on his side a scanner and a knife, so he pulls out the scanner and he starts recording this language as it's speaking. But then also, there is a small voice in his head, and Monarch speaks to him. Hawking, you do not understand this language, but I do. Hawking is just like taken aback for a second, and he's like, what does it say? What does it say, Monarch? The individual was talking about daily routines, but this does seem to be the last recording. He is talking of a great storm and the ship being in danger, being damaged, and then nothing, Hawking. Nothing. Hawking just kind of takes this in, and he's like, what? There has to be more. There has to be more. Monarch says, see if you can get it to play more. So Hawking reaches to the controls, and let's see if there's a move here. There may not be. I know I could do something like gather information. Let's read this. When you search for clues, we can do that. Except I don't want to pay the price. But we're going to do it anyway. Here we go. A weak hit. We get some new information, a new insight, but it also complicates the quest. Envision what you discover, take +1 to momentum. That's good. Okay, what would complicate the quest? So Hawking works the controls. It's a weird angle, like he's having to reach up because he's on the wall and he's pressing some buttons. And it plays another log entry, and Hawking is recording it, and Monarch is listening. And then Monarch says, "Hawking, I know this vessel." Again, his head hurts. It's just like, what are you talking about? "I know this vessel. Long ago." What was it? "A warship. One of my warships." And Hawking Duval reels. "One of your warships? Monarch, you are going to have to tell me. What is going on? Who were you?" "Hawking Duval, I am not accustomed to being commanded. I ruled billions, and they lived and died at my whim. But I am not one of your subjects, Monarch. We are bonded together. If I die, you die. It is all over. So you owe me something, Monarch." "You are correct. We are now symbiotic, and I need you. But if you hadn't noticed, Hawking, you need me. Every time you face something difficult, you call upon, and I help you." "Yes, Monarch, and I thank you for that. What do you mean this is one of your warships?" "I was a monarch, Hawking. I had navies and armies at my command. I may need you to do something before we leave the ship." Hawking just shakes his... "Okay, Monarch. Okay. But like I said, one day you are going to have to tell me what is going on and who were you, and you are going to have to help me understand." And Monarch says, "One day." Okay, that was a lot of fun. Let's close this here. We need to check our progress. So we are not close to concluding this yet. We need to do a few more moves, and we just cannot gain progress. For some reason, we just cannot get a hit. Oh, yes, we do. I forgot. We do mark progress. Oh, goodness. Like I always say about this game, it is really fun, but there are a lot of pieces that we need to keep track of when we're playing this game. And so I almost missed it there. We did get a strong hit, so we got to mark progress. I can't remember the last time. Did we get a weak hit? Did I mark progress that time? Did I mark progress? I don't think I did. So I'm going to go ahead and mark progress because I don't think I did. We will only do that as the retcon right there. I think I missed it several times, which is kind of frustrating to me. Now, I could try to conclude this, but there is still a chance that I would miss, so I am going to do another undertake expedition move. We'll do it with wits. No bonuses. We got a strong hit with a match. Yes. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Now, before I forget, we're going to go ahead and mark progress one more time. And then we are going to look over here and see what location he went to. Operations. Landing bay or hangar. I don't know. We've already had a garage. Let me just roll one more time and see if we get something a little different. New zone. That makes no sense. Computer core. Computer core. There we go. What is a feature? Written logs. And what is our opportunity? Secure area offers a moment of peace. Oh, very good. Okay. So here's what happens. So Hawking continues to travel on after looking at the log in the living quarters, and he enters a computer core, and it is empty. But I'm imagining kind of like those old gray computers. I don't know if you've ever seen those. They look like a C, and they have a bench around them, but they're this big tower. I'm going to say there's a number of those, like several rows of those. And Hawking comes in, and it is very easy for him to close the door behind him and to lock it. And he is in this giant room with all these computer cores, and nothing can attack him because there is no other way in. So he is in this secure place right now. I'm going to say that he would take just a breather, maybe eat like a nutrient bar, whatever they have, like a little granola bar or a protein bar. I guess a protein bar would make sense. So he eats a protein bar, he takes a drink of water, and he finds written logs. Of course, they are written in a different language, but now he has learned Monarch can read them and understands this language. So there's probably many of them. But he just takes one of them and he shoves them into his pack because he wants to take some relic from this place. Now we're going to go back up here. Oh, he should explore the waypoint. I almost forgot. So he is going to explore this waypoint. A weak hit. You uncover something interesting, but is bound up in apparel or reveals an ominous aspect of the place. Envision what you encounter. Take +1 momentum. All right, we're saving up momentum. Well, let's look maybe back here at the Oracle real quick. And we'll go to operations and we'll just look at peril. And we'll see what that says. Sealed blast doors block access. That doesn't make much sense. Let's roll it again. Coded message, puzzling security device. Man, I'm not getting much here either, guys. Sometimes you just know when it sparks. Like I said, I'm not being easy on my character. Sometimes you just know when something sparks. Creativity. We know from our truths that we don't use AI anymore, not after the last time. And it tried to destroy us. So Hawking is in a computer. So let's see what I can think of here. Okay. So Hawking Duval has his respite and he eats his protein bar. He takes this written log and shoves it in a pack. Takes some sips of water. However, in the computer core, a voice begins speaking to him in this ancient tongue, and Monarch translates. And Monarch says, "Hawking, this is machine intelligence, and it does not like that you are here. It can't do anything to you in this room, but it can direct those bots that we saw earlier." And Hawking's just like, great, fantastic. And now there's a hostile AI or machine intelligence. So Hawking is just like, this is fantastic. And he wants to get out of here. So after his little break, he's going to move on. We'll undertake expedition one more time. Maybe one more time. We'll see. Wits, no modifiers. A weak hit. Progress, but it costs us again. All right, so let's go to progress. We can mark it, and it costs us. It cost us 2 suffer moves or an encounter. Well, oh man. I'm going to say supply takes a hit, and I will do it twice. So what I imagine is that Hawking, actually some of the food he just ate, and he moves on forward, and something causes him to use up some more of his supplies. Maybe he had to use some rope, and he had to use a tool, and this is just costing him his supplies, and it is just draining him. Maybe he had to rappel down an area, and that cost him rope and some hooks and carabiners. Maybe he had to eat one more time. Just something happened and slowed him, and he had to do that. So we go back to derelict again. Let's roll on zones. Operations, which is nice because we're nearing the end here. Armory, we already had an armory. Let's roll again. I don't know what that means. I'll roll again. I don't, it's the same thing. Same thing. Armory again. Well, this is fantastic. Armory again. Here we go. All right. Now, I re-rolled all of those. Again, like, I'm not trying to make it easier. It's just we've already done a lot of those. And I don't know what new zone via access means. I don't really get that yet. I'll have to go back through and read the book. But now we found the bridge and the command center. And this works perfectly because Hawking can now try to fulfill his vow and find the relic. But we also need a mineral sample. I'm going to see about that one. But this, he could find the relic. Okay, so let's go back up here. And we are going to explore this waypoint. Strong hit. And we could find an opportunity, or I could mark progress, which would give us a full bar. And I may do that, but let's see. What kind of opportunity could we get? And we'll just take a look at this. Log offers insight into the site's downfall. Done a lot of logs, but maybe we could. Cache of weapons or ammo. Not too interesting to Hawking. We've already had that. Secure area. I keep rolling the same thing over and over again. And it's the same thing over and over again. Okay, so this roller might be broken. Let's go up here. Go down to opportunity. Oh, well, there's only a few. Okay, well, I was being a little hard on the built-in roller. Somebody did this for free, and it's amazing. Let's use this. 1. Okay, so that's a cache of weapons and ammo. 83. Secure area. Well, there's only 2 more. And well, there's a key card access code and a helpful AI. Okay, so this table isn't very helpful. Let's just go ahead and we will mark progress. We filled every single box on this progress of exploring the ship. Let's go ahead and conclude. We got a strong hit. Let's go see what that looks like here on Finish an Expedition. A strong hit, you reach your destination or complete your survey, mark discovery on your legacy track. So it's a formidable one. So we get 1 box on our legacy discovery track, which is amazing. So let's go over here to our legacy discovery track. So we get one full box. There we go. And then let's put back our one tick. That means we get 2 more experience points. 8. This is going to be awesome, guys. I spent 8 experience points last time and revolutionized my ship. So this is going to be cool. Okay, so we got that discovery right there. Let's go back and make sure I'm not missing anything. So I got that. We are in the bridge. We have completed exploring the crashed starship. Let's look at our vows. All right. Help Lodestar recover a relic from Thule. I think this obviously means we mark some progress to this goal because we are getting closer and closer to this. I think it also means we mark progress down here as well because Hawking will be getting closer to the mineral. Now, let's kind of envision this. So Hawking leaves the computer core, and I am going to say he had to use up a lot of his supplies, and maybe there was this big shaft or something. It was it would have been a hallway, but now it's, since the ship is turned on its side, he has to rappel all the way down it, and he uses up a lot of his supplies doing so. Well, when he reaches the bottom, he enters the bridge, and he is awestruck. This bridge, I'm imagining it as being huge and open with workstations all around, maybe even double or triple decks. And he sees a command chair, and he sees all these panels. And he is awestruck by the sight. He completes his expedition because the item, the object, the relic that Lodestar sent him to retrieve is in this room, and he sees it. But we'll cover that next time. And let's go ahead and we'll make a move. We will make the move to end session. Try to do it right this time. If we strengthen ties to a connection, we did not, really. If we move forward on a quest, let's reach a milestone. And I can show you milestones again over here if you would like to see them, or you can take a look at it for yourself. So over here on quest moves, so you can see here, overcoming an obstacle, completing a perilous expedition, so forth, so forth. So I clicked on the wrong thing. I'm going to click on vows. I'm going to come down here, and I definitely think we have made a lot of progress towards getting this relic off of this starship. And that concludes our session for today.
Thank you for listening to Forged Among Stars.